It's undeniable that we humans love to be rewarded for our hard work. Be that in the form of a certificate as a school kid, a promotion as an adult, or getting jabbed in the arm with a needle and having the blood sucked out of you, or also you can be rewarded with a cookie. Video games are no exception to this process of working your butt off in an effort to be praised. Various gaming platforms and consoles have trophy systems which can reward players for doing everything from jumping to beating the entire game. But what is it about video game achievements that gamers are addicted to? Why do we spend hours upon hours grinding out missions and getting every collectible just for these virtual trophies? We can find ourselves so driven to complete every single aspect of a game just so that we can boast that we have that platinum trophy, which is why today we're going to be asking the question of why we love video game achievements. Virtual achievements in gaming are quite commonplace nowadays, with reward systems in place on the Xbox, the PlayStation, and Steam, but not only have they not always been around, but they haven't always been virtual. Video game achievements were but a whisper back in the arcade days. Reward systems as they exist today weren't in place, but high scores could replicate a similar effect. You'd play a game like Space Invaders and see the best of the best for that arcade cabinet once you died. In a way, players were rewarded with a top spot for doing well in-game, and that was an achievement for everyone to see. The whole trophy system and receiving specific rewards for completing tasks didn't come into play until back in the 80s. Activision developed a system in which if players met a certain condition, took a photo as proof and mailed it into the company, then they would send back a physical patch as a reward. It wasn't until about 2 decades later though that the achievement system really took off. Microsoft developed their own reward system in 2005 for the Xbox 360, Valve implemented one in 2006 for Steam, Sony put one on the PS3 in 2008, and Nintendo? Sometimes Nintendo don't. They've steered very clear of any sort of achievement system. We'll get into that though. Now, this answers the question of where did video game achievements come from, but to answer the why, we have to chuck on our thinking glasses and delve into the human brain to unravel the psychological reasons behind these virtual trophies. I am not wearing glasses for the rest of the video. They hurt my eyes. Probably the most straightforward answer to this question comes from the incentive theory or the reward motivation theory. This theory suggests that as human beings, we're more likely to pursue actions that lead to positive rewards. We're more inclined to complete a task if we believe it's going to lead to some sort of recognition. This is the very basis of what video game achievements are. Maybe you have looked at the achievement list for a certain game and are striving to complete particular goals. Maybe you haven't looked at the list, but you still know that you're playing a game that's going to reward you with virtual trophies, so in the back of your mind, you might be incentivized to beat the next boss to get a reward or collect every collectible because you know that there's a high probability that you'll be rewarded for it. This is something that can build up upon itself if the achievement system is structured in such a way. If we look at something like PlayStation's achievement system, we can see that they have trophies of different varieties. At the bottom are the lowly bronze, while at the top is the shining platinum, which you only get for completing every other achievement in the game. You want that trophy because it's the best of the best, and the drive to get that subsequently sees you getting everything else in the game. Now, there's a variety of other reasons as to why we might be incentivized to pursue a goal beyond just rewards, and one of these other factors is a social factor. Generally, your friends list for a certain platform can see the achievements that you've collected and even compare them to the ones they've achieved. We can become incentivized to progress further and further throughout the game to collect more and more trophies, not out of a desire to enjoy the game, but rather out of a desire to impress our friends and have collective proof that we are better than them at a certain game. Let me give you an example with a case study on myself. Recently, I began feeling the itch to do another playthrough of Stardew Valley, and I had two options. I could either play it on my Switch, which would give me the versatility to play it in my bed, on the couch, at my desk, and basically wherever else, or I could play it on my Mac. This latter option initially seemed like a no-go for me. Unless I was willing to carry my Mac down the street, I couldn't play this portably, man. That's a feature of the Switch that I really love. But those initial condemnations of playing at a stationary machine did not take into account Steam achievements. See, I've played a lot of Stardew Valley on Switch, meaning that I've done a lot of cool things, but nobody knows because the Switch doesn't have achievements. Nobody knows that I've upgraded my house to the max level in the game, or that I've caught a heap of fish, or that I've reached a 10-heart friendship level with Penny and gotten married. In the game. All I'm saying is, maybe if the Switch did have achievements, my friends would have seen and sent me wedding gifts. While this is a specific problem relating to the fact that Nintendo consoles have always been my primary one, and Nintendo as a company isn't on board with the whole achievement thing, I think it still points out a big issue with the system. I was willing to throw away the comforts of the Switch's versatility just because I wanted virtual rewards. But it wasn't even just that. Stardew Valley on the Switch has a reward system baked into the game. I was still getting the achievements, I just wanted my friends to be able to see. Now, this can point us in two directions. One, I have problems, but the second, which I prefer because it doesn't delve into my psyche, leads us to Nintendo's stance on video game achievements. About 10 years ago, Nintendo of America employee Bill Trinen, who, from a glance on the internet, we can tell is a very reputable man, talked about the company's stance on video game achievements. He suggested that games like Mario and Donkey Kong reward players in a way that really encourages the sense of exploration rather than the sense of, if I do that, I'm going to get some sort of artificial point or score that's going to make me feel better that I got this. On one hand, Bill Trinen's handing out a sick burn by suggesting other games have to create achievements to fulfill the fact that they're poorly designed experiences that don't reward players on their own. What he's really saying, though, is that achievement systems can take away your intrinsic motivation, or your desire to do something just because you want to, and effectively ruin that sense of exploration. Maybe you're reading through the trophy list and see what else you need to do to get that 100%, and in the process you stumble across spoilers for the game's plot, or confuse yourself with a weird trophy description. Like, if you accidentally stumbled across the Hollow Knight achievement with the description "Defeat the White Defender," you might spend the rest of the game waiting for the plot to take a very racially driven turn. Overall, I think video game achievements are a good thing. The motivation to collect every trophy to attain that 100% completion can see you traveling all over a game's world. You can do everything it has to offer, all while being filled with this resounding sense of accomplishment. But the incentive behind these goals can very easily become warped. You can lose your sense of inner curiosity and just become obsessed with proving you're better than your friends. Yeah, I think there is a line that can be crossed with video game achievements, but if you maintain that mentality of getting every single trophy just for the sake of it being a good time, then at the end of the day, I think that's the real reward.